I was just about to tell my husband I was pregnant when his secretary threw hot soup on my head and called me a mischief. I had been waiting for this moment for so long, 3 long years of hoping, praying, and enduring the loneliness that came with each passing month of disappointment. Finally, the universe had answered. I was pregnant. The editor reminds you. Search 62,952 on the GoodNovel app to read the full story. Wonderful content continues to play. Part 1. With trembling hands, I held onto the lunchbox I had prepared with all the love I could muster, each dish a token of a joy I wanted to share with Simon. I imagined his smile, the way his eyes would light up when I told him the good news. But as I stepped into the Gates Group building, that dream shattered into pieces. The secretary, Lily, was stunning, dressed in sharp attire that screamed power and confidence. Her cold eyes scanned me from head to toe with barely concealed disdain. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" she demanded, her voice a knife slicing through my hopes. I lifted the lunchbox timidly. "I'm here to deliver lunch to Simon," I said, unable to call him my husband in front of her. Lily's eyes narrowed. "Oh, just a servant then," she scoffed, her lips curling into a sneer. "Give it to me. You can leave now." I shook my head, still smiling politely. "I'd like to give it to him myself." Before I could even finish my sentence, her face twisted with fury. She grabbed the lunchbox from my hands and shoved me hard. My heart pounded as I stumbled backward, the world blurring around me. Without warning, she dragged me into a nearby meeting room, her nails sticking into my arm. "You think you can seduce Mr. Gates? You think you're special? Let me show you just how wrong you are." Before I could react, a stinging slap landed across my face, and I crumpled to the floor. Pain exploded in my head, but all I could think of was the tiny life growing inside of me. Protect the baby. That was all that mattered. She dumped the steaming beef soup onto my head, the liquid burning my scalp as it dripped down my face. My eyes welled with tears, but I stayed silent, curling in on myself to shield my belly. My love, my hope, everything I had ever wanted was inside me, and I would not let her take it away. Lily's voice rang out above me, cruel and mocking. "See this? This is what happens when you overstep your place. Remember this pain, because I'll make sure it never ends." The door burst open, and for a moment, I thought I was saved. But the sneers from the other secretaries told me otherwise. They looked at me with scorn, as if I were nothing but trash on the floor. Lily smirked, her gaze full of malice. "Let's strip her," she said. "Let's see how much pride she has left." The room filled with laughter, and I felt my body go numb with fear. I tried to crawl away, but Lily's heel came down hard on my hand, and I screamed. "This isn't over. You think you deserve Simon's love? I'll make sure you lose everything." The editor reminds you. Search 62,952 on the GoodNovel app to read the full story. Wonderful content continues to play. Part 2. I had thought that maybe someone would step in. Maybe one of the other secretaries would have the courage to say something to stop Lily from her madness. But all I saw were their cold eyes, indifferent to my pain. Lily grabbed me by the hair and dragged me to the middle of the room, her laughter echoing through the confined space. The laughter of others joined her, like a pack of wolves circling their wounded prey. "Do you still think you belong here, in Simon's world?" Lily's voice was like ice, chilling me to my core. She yanked harder, forcing my head back so that I was looking straight into her eyes. "Look at you, pathetic and dirty. How do you think Mr. Gates would feel if he saw you like this?" I tried to speak, but my voice was caught in my throat, the tears blurring my vision. The pain from her grip was sharp, but the ache in my heart was worse. I had come here full of hope, and now it was crushed under her heels. I couldn't fight her. I couldn't fight any of them. All I could do was protect the tiny life within me. I tried to bring my hands to my stomach to shield my baby, but Lily's nails dug into my scalp, keeping me in place. She laughed again, her voice ringing out above the others. "Girls, she thinks she can be one of us. Let's make sure she remembers her place." Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. The laughter quieted down, and the room fell into an uncomfortable silence. For a brief second, hope sparked in my chest again. "Lily, what's going on in there?" A muffled voice came from behind the door. It sounded like one of the managers. Lily's grip on my hair loosened, and she quickly composed herself. She gestured for the other secretaries to stay silent. "Nothing, just dealing with some unauthorized personnel," she called back, her voice smooth and professional. I dared to hope that the door would open, that someone would finally help me. But the voice outside merely sighed, and I heard footsteps retreating. Lily smiled down at me, her eyes full of malice. "See, no one cares about you. You're nothing. Not to us, and certainly not to Simon." She let go of my hair, and I crumpled to the floor, my body too weak to hold itself up. The other secretaries began to whisper amongst themselves, some looking uneasy, others amused. Lily stepped back, dusting her hands as if touching me had somehow soiled her. "Let this be a lesson," she said, her voice full of authority. "Stay away from Mr. Gates. Or next time, it won't just be soup." I lay there, my head spinning, my body aching, but my heart was filled with a fierce determination. I had to protect my child. I had to survive this for both of us. "This isn't over, Lily. I may be down now, but I will rise again. And when I do, you'll regret every single thing you did to me." The editor reminds you. Search 62,952 on the GoodNovel app to read the full story. Wonderful content continues to play. Part 3. I didn't know how long I lay there on the cold floor. Minutes felt like hours as the pain in my body merged with the ache of betrayal in my heart. Finally, when I was sure that the others had left, I pushed myself up, every muscle protesting. My clothes were damp with soup, my face streaked with tears, but I had to move. I had to get out of here. I stumbled out of the meeting room, my legs shaky, the world around me blurry. As I stepped into the hallway, I caught sight of a few lingering glances. People stared but said nothing, some turning away as if they hadn't seen a thing. Shame washed over me, but I swallowed it down. There was no time for that. My baby needed me. My phone was shattered, lying in pieces back in the meeting room, so I couldn't call Simon. I didn't know what I would say even if I could. Part of me was terrified that he wouldn't believe me, that he would side with them, with Lily. The thought made my stomach twist, but I couldn't dwell on it now. One step at a time. Get out of here, go home, and figure out the rest. I made my way to the elevator, keeping my eyes on the floor, trying to block out the whispers. When the elevator doors finally opened, I stepped inside and pressed the button for the ground floor. The ride down felt like it took an eternity, my heart pounding in my chest. As I reached the lobby, I saw the curious eyes of the receptionists. They looked at me, their expressions flickering between pity and disinterest. I kept my head down and walked out of the building, the cool air hitting my face like a slap. It felt refreshing, almost cleansing. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. I had almost made it to the street when I heard a voice call my name. I froze, my body tensing up. "Madam, are you all right?" It was one of the junior assistants, a young woman I had seen around the office a few times. Her eyes were wide with concern as she approached me. I tried to force a smile, but my lips trembled. "I'm fine," I managed to say, though my voice was barely above a whisper. She hesitated, looking around nervously. You don't look fine. Should I call someone for you?" For a moment, I was tempted to say yes, to ask her to help me, to take me to a hospital. But I couldn't risk it. I couldn't risk anyone finding out about the baby, not yet. Not until I was sure what I was going to do. "No, please. I just need to go home," I said, trying to sound firm. The young assistant nodded, though the worry didn't leave her eyes. "All right. Let me help you get a cab at least," she said softly, and before I could protest, she was already waving one down. A cab pulled up to the curb, and she helped me inside, her gentle hands guiding me as if I were fragile. I whispered my thanks as she closed the door, and the cab driver glanced at me through the rearview mirror. "Where to, miss?" he asked, his voice gruff but not unkind. I gave him my address, and as the cab pulled away from the Gates Group building, I let out a shaky breath. I leaned back against the seat, closing my eyes. I could still feel Lily's hands on me, her cruel laughter echoing in my ears. But I also felt something else, a flicker of strength deep inside me. This wasn't over. I would find a way to protect my baby. I would find a way to make things right. And I would make sure that Lily paid for what she had done. One day, they will all see who I truly am. And they will regret ever underestimating me. Want to know more? Search 62952 on the GoodNovel app to read the full story.